6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, to take a look at the headlines. The President has highlighted the security forces' role in safeguarding both the people's sovereignty and the distinctive identity of Sri Lanka. Minister Alas sets deadline against drugs and underworld. The government hopes to increase the welfare beneficiary payment. The Road Development Authority has informed the motorists using the expressway to maintain 50-meter distance owing to the adverse weather conditions. In news overseas, protests in Tel Aviv after Israel mistakenly kills hostages in Gaza. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, emphasizing the monumental responsibility borne by the security forces, underscored that protecting the sovereignty of the country is paramount. The President clearly stated that no external interferences or restrictions shall be tolerated. President Wickremesinghe, serving as the chief of guest at the parade of the cadet officers during the ceremony of colours awarding and commissioning parade of Sri Lanka Military Academy at Diathalawa this morning, highlighted the security forces' role in safeguarding both the people's sovereignty and the distinctive identity of Sri Lanka. He emphasized that any attempt to act independently based on racism or religion would pose a threat to the Sri Lankan identity. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Ranil Wickremesinghe, upon his arrival at the Diathalawa Military Academy, was welcomed with pride as military honours were offered in his honour. The 98th Colours Awarding and Commissioning Parade of Sri Lanka Military Academy Diathalawa, renowned as the premier officer training institute that has produced esteemed leaders for the nation and Sri Lankan Army, took place today. During the ceremony, a total of 274 cadets who have successfully completed their training were officially appointed to their respective roles. Notably, 6 cadet officers from foreign countries also underwent training and assumed their duties. President Wickremesinghe, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, actively participated in the inspection of the Colours Awarding and Commissioning Parade, where he bestowed the championship award upon the best cadet team and presented a sword to their outstanding cadets. State Minister Shan Semasinghe says that the shortcomings that had occurred when providing Aswesma beneficiary payments will be corrected next year. The relevant program is being prepared. He also stated that several workshops have been conducted regarding the Aswesma beneficiary program. Beneficiary payments have been given to 1,430,000 beneficiary families. The government hopes to increase this up to 2 million. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Public Security Minister Tiran Alas said that a special operation targeting drug-related activities and the underworld is set to commence tomorrow. Minister Alas has directed the police to take stringent measures against individuals engaged in drug smuggling and underworld operations. The minister made these directives during a Community Police Committee meeting in the Alpitiya division held this morning. A group of senior officers, including Acting Inspector General Police Deshabandhu Tenakon, attended the meeting. Minister Alas urged the public to actively support the police force in their efforts to combat drug-related crimes and underworld activities. The Road Development Authority has informed the motorists using the expressway to maintain 50-meter distance between the vehicles when driving owing to the adverse weather conditions prevailing across the country. The Road Development Authority has taken steps to display warnings on electric display boards. Meanwhile, the police also notified their drivers to keep the front and rear lights on until they reach their destination due to the low light conditions. The police say that there is a risk of transportation activities from Balangoda Uduvala Junction to Udallapola as there will be a landslide risk in the area. Drivers have been informed to be alert in this regard. The water levels in main tanks in the Anuradhapura district have increased due to the existing heavy rain. 14 sluice gates have been opened in the Rajangane reservoir. The Navy is engaged in relief activities for the people who have been affected in the Padaviya Parakrama area. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The President has highlighted the security forces' role in safeguarding both the people's sovereignty and the distinctive identity of Sri Lanka. Minister Alice sets a deadline against drugs and underworld. The government hopes to increase the welfare beneficiary payment. The Road Development Authority has informed the motorists using the expressway to maintain 50-meter distance owing to the adverse weather conditions. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala.
The main news story for this evening, Minister Suse Premachand says that facilities will be provided to the identified schools that have excelled in many sports activities from the financial grants allocated for next year. Athletes have established 23 new records in the events at the National School Sports Festival this year. Chief Secretary of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Teacher Association, Divyani Hettige, has requested the minister to take measures to suspend the studies during the school holiday periods of the students. In most of the countries, it is recommended that the school vacation is free for mental activities. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala.
This is Watchlight.
Colombo Municipal Council Commissioner Badrani Jayawardena says that a total of 558 trees have been identified as more than 100 years old and dangerous in the Colombo city. During an inspection, 558 trees have been identified as dangerous and 214 of them had been removed with the intervention of the Colombo Municipal Council. Compared to the other towns, Colombo has more trees and certain trees are more than 100 years old. The CMC is putting a huge effort to balance the trees by cutting branches in a bid to conserve these trees, she said. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news: protests in Tel Aviv after Israel mistakenly kills hostages in Gaza. Rudy Giuliani must pay more than $148 million over false election claims. Kuwaiti leader Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmad dies aged 86. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Demonstrations have taken place in Tel Aviv with calls for the Israeli government to do more to bring home hostages from Gaza. The protests were sparked by the Israeli military mistakenly killing 3 hostages in Gaza, Yotam Haim, Samar Talalka and Elan Shamris, after misidentifying them as a threat. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the deaths as an unbearable tragedy. The Israeli offensive has continued in Gaza, with residents reporting fighting in the northern, central and southern Gaza. Rudy Giuliani, a long-time associate of former President Donald Trump, has been ordered to pay more than $148 million to 2 women over false claims that they tampered with the votes in the year 2020. A judge has already found him liable for making defamatory claims about Georgia poll workers Ruby Freeman and her daughter Wondrea Shea Moss. Ms. Moss said after the verdict that the past few years had been devastating. The verdict came after a 4-day trial to determine the penalty. On Friday, the 8-person jury ordered $20 million payments for defamation to be made for each of the victims. Kuwait's leader, Sheikh Emir Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jabar Al-Shaba, has died at the age of 86, Kuwaiti State TV announced. Sheikh had led the oil-rich nation for the last 3 years after taking over from his half-brother, Sheikh Shaba Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah. With great sadness and sorrow, we mourn the death of Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah, the statement aired on State TV said. Sheikh Nawaf was named Crown Prince in the year 2006 and took over as Emir in the year 2020. He had previously served as a Defense Minister and the Interior Minister. And that was the world news.
Development News.
There are 27,000 metric tons of Bandi fertilizer in the government-owned fertilizer companies. The Ministry of Agriculture says the urea fertilizer has been distributed to all agrarian services centres. The ministry has issued a certified price of 9,000 rupees for Bandi fertilizer. And that came to you in the segment of development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka Open Junior Golf Tournament will be played at the Royal Golf Club grounds in Borella on the 20th of this month. The tournament is to be conducted for 3 days. The tournament will be played under 4 age categories. And still in sports news, Hardik Pandya will captain Mumbai Indians in IPL 2024, taking over from Rohit Sharma, who led the team through a decade of thrilling highs. Rohit, who led Mumbai to 5 IPL titles, is the joint most successful captain in the tournament's history alongside Chennai Super Kings' MS Dhoni. That was the sports news, business news coming up.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Prime Lands Residencies Company has won the fabulous Silver Award for Land and Property at the 2023 TAG Awards Festival. The Prime Land Institute is playing a significant role under the theme of sustainable development and empowerment. That is the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
The Ministry of Agriculture has completed the third sour banana export processing factory in Hambantota, Kachigal area, as there are orders from many countries for sour bananas in Sri Lanka. Minister Mahinda Amaraveera yesterday visited the site and inspected the functioning of the machines of the plant. The plant was set up at a cost of 65 million rupees. That is economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. The Department of Meteorology says cloudy skies can be expected over most provinces of the island today. Showers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern, southern, central and over provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in other areas of the island after 1 p.m. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province during the morning hours too. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, Sabarkamur, southern, northwestern and eastern provinces. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. The President has highlighted the security forces' role in safeguarding both people's sovereignty and the distinctive identity of Sri Lanka. Minister Alas sets deadline against drugs and underworld. The government hopes to increase the welfare beneficiary payment. The Road Development Authority has informed the motorists using the expressways to maintain 50-meter distance owing to the adverse weather conditions. In news overseas, protests in Tel Aviv after Israel mistakenly kills hostages in Gaza. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to your regular Saturday evening host, my good friend Shandima, on the other side of the glass panel to keep you entertained.